Who was Veronica? And what is her veil? Catholics know Veronica from the sixth station of the cross, which recalls a woman or a young girl wiping the face of Jesus after he fell for the third time on his march to Calvary. The Lord rewarded her with the miracle of the veil, his image transferred onto the cloth, which became an important icon of the early church. The girl who offered the veil earned the name Veronica, because she bore the Veris icon, or the true image, of the Lord. The veil is sometimes confused with the Shroud of Turin, but that cloth purports to be the burial shroud of Christ. Veronica's veil is just that, a headscarf of the type worn by women throughout the Holy Land. The veil legend became very popular during the Middle Ages. In 1297, Pope Innocent III publicly displayed the veil of Veronica and granted indulgences to all who prayed before it. Dante, writing Canto 31 of his Paradiso, between 1308 and 1321, places a pilgrim before the Veronica. And didst thou look e'en thus, O Jesus, my true Lord and God? And was this semblance thine? So gazed I then adoring. After the sack of Rome in 1527, conflicting reports arose claiming the veil had been destroyed or was being passed around Rome. One version claims the veil was purloined during renovations to the basilica in 1608. Still, the legend persisted. Copies of the veil proliferated, so many in fact that in 1616, Pope Urban III prohibited reproductions of the veil and ordered all existing copies burned. In 1999, a scholar claimed to have discovered the genuine veil at a little-known 17th century Capuchin sanctuary in Montebello, Italy. The monastery's records indicate that the wife of a soldier sold the veil to a nobleman of Montebello in 1608 to get her husband out of jail. The nobleman donated it to the Capuchins. In 1618, it was placed in a walnut frame adorned with silver and gold between two sheets of glass. In 2006, Pope Benedict XVI made a pilgrimage to the site and prayed before the image. But who was Veronica? Why was she there? What prompted her to step out of the crowd and perform this act of compassion? Veronica is not found in any of the Gospels, yet her story dates from the earliest Christian traditions. Sources about Veronica are scant, but in the apocryphal 5th century Gospel of Nicodemus, also called the Acts of Pilate, Veronica appears in the crowd outside Pilate's palace, but instead of calling for Jesus to be crucified, she proclaims that he is a miracle worker. And a certain woman named Veronica, crying from afar off, said, I had an issue of blood and touched the hem of his garment, and the flowing of my blood was stayed, which I had 12 years. Thus Veronica is identified with the woman in Matthew 9:20-22, who was healed when she touched the hem of Jesus' tunic. However, there seems to be no basis for a connection between Veronica and the hemorrhagic woman, other than a writer's imagination. Another source that's sometimes cited is the Dolorous Passion of our Lord Jesus Christ, a collection of visions that a German nun, Blessed Anne Catherine Emmerich, had concerning the sufferings Jesus endured. Emmerich describes a woman named Seraphia, a cousin of John the Baptist, 5 years older than the Virgin Mary. According to Emmerich, Seraphia was the wife of Sirach, who was one of the counselors of the temple. The church has never come out and endorsed Emmerich's visions, which, like the Acts of Pilate, may be the product of a vivid imagination. Film director Mel Gibson seems to agree, because even though he included many elements of the Dolorous Passion when he produced The Passion of the Christ, he rejected Emmerich's portrayal of Veronica, choosing instead to represent her as a young Jewish girl. In my research for The Lance and the Veil, I came across a rich source for early Christian stories called the Golden Legend. That collection draws on several sources, including the apocryphal Death of Pilate. That tale has Veronica journeying to Rome in 37 AD for a reason I won't state here, because it is a major plot point in The Lance and the Veil. But I decided that if Veronica were to visit Rome in 37, it would be more dramatically interesting if she had fled political turmoil in Rome and was returning, having been changed by her encounter with Christ. So I made my Veronica a patrician princess of Rome, privy to the political intrigue of the empire, which may have influenced events in Judea, to give the saga an overarching dramatic intensity. It is also believed that Veronica may have been in Rome during the time of Nero, when Saints Peter and Paul were martyred and Christians were immolated in the piazza. She is said to have given the veil to Pope Clement I just prior to her death. But if these facts are true, they are a story for another time and maybe another book. Until then, you're invited to read and enjoy The Lance and the Veil.